Hi Founder fans, Jason here, and today's founder is Thomas Hunt Flandrau, a young man who starts a partnership with an old Aaron Burr. Now, Thomas Hunt Flandrau is hard to consider an American founder because he was actually born just after Thomas Jefferson took office as president, so really he's more the second generation of American figures, but as I said earlier, he ends up making a partnership with Aaron Burr, so we're going to count him today. Also, I want to note, I've only ever read his last name. I believe it's pronounced Flandrau. If I'm saying it wrong, please let me know in the comments. So Thomas Hunt Flandrau was born in New Rochelle, New York, just north of what we today would consider the Bronx. He ends up coming from a middling family, but is able to afford to study at college. He goes to Hamilton College, which originally had been founded by Samuel Kirkland as a first-level education, a childhood education institution for Native American children and white children to learn together. By this point, it had started offering university studies, and that's why Thomas goes there. He studies there for several years, then moves to Utica, New York, which was quickly growing in population because New York had just paved the Genesee Road, which went from Albany out to Buffalo and made the whole state more united in a fashion. People were taking advantage of this to move to these smaller towns that would soon be bustling cities. And this is where, as I said, Thomas Hunt Flandrau studies law. After he achieves his degree, he goes back down to New York City, where he forms a partnership with none other than Aaron Burr. Now, this is in the 1820s. Aaron Burr is approaching 70 at this point. He had already not only dueled with Hamilton and been vice president of the United States, but did a little filibustering, as they called it, out in New Spain, and then fled his debtors to Europe. He finally had returned under an assumed name, and only just now was he starting to live life again as Aaron Burr when he takes this young man, Thomas Hunt Flandrau, under his wing. Now, this might seem a pretty ridiculous choice for young Flandrau, but keep in mind, Aaron Burr had been one of the most brilliant legal thinkers in at least the 1790s and early 1800s in all of the United States. So it was a great place for him to learn. Also, Aaron Burr didn't have a lot of credibility anymore, so taking on Flandrau was good, and Flandrau didn't have a ton of money to invest in starting a business. So it did kind of work out for all of them. He's there for about 2 years, during which time he actually marries Elizabeth Macomb, who was the daughter of Alexander Macomb, another American founder, a really wealthy speculator, fur trader, banker. So this kind of solidifies Flandrau as one of the lower level elites in New York City at this time. The family ends up moving back to Utica, where they spend the rest of their life, and that's pretty much it for Thomas Flandrau himself, but he does have several children who lead to pretty important things. Notably, he has a son, Charles Eugene Flandrau, who goes out to Minnesota, and he is one of the founders of Minnesota, and he would sit on that state's Supreme Court. Additionally, his great-granddaughter, 100-plus years later, is Isabella Selms, who was the first woman ever elected to represent Arizona in the United States Congress. So that's a little bit about Thomas Hunt Flandrau, a really random, borderline founder who's making it to this particular channel is clearly questionable, but it's a really interesting story how he ends up uniting with that old man Aaron Burr. If you enjoyed this video, do me a favor and hit like so more people can learn about the channel and learn along with us. If you're new here, subscribe. Put out videos about the American Revolution 7 days a week, and I'll be back with another founder for you tomorrow.